So this is Applejack's day off, and basically it could be like a reference to like anyone's day off, like I don't know, like your day off, my day off, anyone's day off, or maybe even the film Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But particularly, let's just talk about this because I don't think really anything much happened in this. So for this we have the new story of how, like, AJ does, like, how AJ, like, is trying to get to the spa, because the whole episode is about how, like, AJ is trying to, how Rarity is trying to get Applejack to relax for a bit, or at least get down and have her go down to the spa. But Applejack's busy life has been keeping her away from the spa so much that it honestly makes her, like, it really upsets Rarity. And throughout the episode, it shows. So the one thing is, Twilight obviously comes over and tries to take over for Applejack Shores, which winds up being the longest list that Twilight does, which I think she would get used to by now. But of course, the list here doesn't make any sense. But we obviously won't get a Pulp Fiction episode for that. I know, because I checked the guide, which obviously this is a dysfunctional guide, so it took me a while to figure out the episode for next week. So, it's obvious we won't be getting a Pulp Fiction episode next week. So, they obviously, Applejack and Rarity go to the spa, and they wind up finding the spa's, like the sauna being backed up and everything, all because, because the staff says that, like, the treatment of the sauna, it takes a while to heat up. However, because of AJ's keen eye, she finds out that literally some of the pipes are actually leaking, and actually comes back with her tools and fixes up the pipes that that Applejack doesn't have any time to get her spa treatment in. And this obviously upsets Rarity, like last time, as obviously she returns to the farm and does some routine, as they find, like, Twilight and Spike trying to make sense of her, like, oddly written routine to feed the pig. Oddly written routine to feed the pigs. But they obviously return to find that they cannot figure out, that they can't make heads or tails of, that they can't make heads or tails of Applejack's list or whatever. So Applejack takes it into her own hands to do that whole thing herself. And he realizes that Applejack actually doesn't pay any mind to what she'd written down in her own list. Which obviously means that she could probably do that whole thing in her sleep. So, in some, like, idea that they have, they decide to literally fix up her farm. Well, Rarity, Spike, and Twilight decide to fix up her farm or whatever, and they obviously fix it up, and they decide, that AJ finds out that you are allowed that sometimes you can actually step out of your boundaries and do something that's outside of your comfort zone, or at least I think that's what the lesson is, because there's sometimes because sometimes you can feel like you're doing like one thing or another, like you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. Like one moment you're playing, I don't know, like playing the same games over and over again, like Burnout 3, but then the next thing you know, you have like a different taste in something else. Like you could be into maybe cosplaying the next thing, cosplaying the next moment of your life, and then maybe making short films, and or maybe somebody could give you a hand in trying out different things. And it's obvious that that Rarity, Twyla, and Spike fix up her farm so that it makes it more convenient on AJ to, to water the place, obviously fix up her fence, and do everything to make sure that the farm is working and steadily, is working at a steadily fast, moderate pace. And of course, realizing the time, but of course, Applejack realizes that it's more important to be with your friends and to take time off from your daily routine. So it's obvious that both Rarity and Applejack return to the farm, or not the farm, they return to the spa, and they find Rainbow Dash there from her treatment, as they obviously go off for a spa treatment. I think this episode sort of reminded me of, I don't know, just having like partially Twilight involved. It partially reminded me of like some of the season 1 episode, back when they had to have Twilight involved with the episodes, because it wasn't until season 2 where they were allowed to have, until like lesson 0, where they had to split into like that one situation where Twilight went completely insane, that they've written that plot point where each and every character was allowed to learn their own lesson. Season 1, they had to at least have Twilight involved in order to let Twilight know of their friendship lessons. At least that's what I got out of season 1. And the way that I see this, I don't know, this partially reminded me of the season 1 episodes, and I don't know what else to say. It reminded me a lot of season 1, and the characters and plot points and everything else. But I mean, the whole idea of having like Twilight involved with the story, I mean, you don't see like how Twilight, I mean, you partially trying to see how like Twilight's trying to make heads and tails of like Applejack's list of trying how to feed the pigs, but you only partially see it. You don't see the whole thing. And I would have like taken like money just to see that whole like scene play out. But as I've stated, we won't be getting a Pulp Fiction episode out of that, because who knows. But at least some of the plot's good, and at least what I think I got out of it is a worthwhile lesson. So, in that regards, it's decent, I would say. Not as a good kicker as last week's episode with Mr. Jameson from Spider-Man 3. Not Spider-Man 3, the Spider-Man movies. But it's alright. Nothing I would go screaming home about. I can tell you that much. So, yeah, it's just, in that it's alright, and until the half-season hiatus, and then we come back. See you guys for next week's episode. Later.